Let's talk about the worst MVPs in NBA history. But first, if you don't know, the MVP award is voted on by media members. There's no set criteria. Everyone has their own personal preferences and biases when it comes to their individual votes. But throughout NBA history, there have been a few trends. In some years, they give it to the best player on the best team. Sometimes it's about the narrative, the story behind the player. Other times it seems like it's a makeup award where they're trying to reward a previously snubbed MVP. And sometimes it's as simple as giving it to the best player in the world. For the sake of this video, we're going to start in the 1980s and go decade for decade until we hit the 2020s, mentioning just one or two awards per decade. In the 1960s and 70s, the MVP award was voted on by players, and those awards probably deserve their own video. Let me know if that's something you'd want to see in the comments. So starting with the 80s, we're going to go right up to 1989 when Magic Johnson won the award. Magic Johnson posted 22.5 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game, 12.8 assists. He recorded 16.1 win shares and 8.3 VORP, and the Lakers won 57 games that year. Now as a side note, I'll continue mentioning win share and VORP. At their base level, they're different metrics that measure the overall impact a player has on winning. They're known in many spaces as the MVP stats, but back to 1989. Like I mentioned, the Lakers had 57 wins, but that was good enough for the second best team in the league. Detroit Pistons had the best record that year with 63 wins. But here's the thing. The Lakers were the reigning champions, having beat the Pistons the year prior. And that brings us to one type of award that seems to happen over NBA history. It seems like the media members who were voting wanted to reward winning, not just give it to the team with the best record. Maybe that's why no one on the Pistons had a shot at winning the award. And that brings us to who I think should have won the award. And that's Michael Jordan. For context, Michael Jordan did win the award the year prior, 1988, but he had yet to win a championship, having been eliminated from the conference semifinals the year prior. Not to mention, there was a narrative at the time going around that Michael Jordan was an empty stats kind of player. As crazy as that might sound, it was popularly believed that you couldn't win with that type of score. Analysts and media members had gotten used to the style of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, where it's a more balanced version of scoring and passing. But when you hear the stats, it's not like Michael Jordan wasn't playmaking. Jordan posted 32.5 points per game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and recorded 2.9 steals, 19.8 win shares, and 11.4 VORP, and the Bulls were still pretty good. They were underdeveloped, they still won 47 games. Michael Jordan was ridiculous that season, and his second best player was a rookie Scottie Pippen. The Bulls would prove those narratives wrong about not being able to win very, very soon. But of course, winning does matter. And Magic certainly has a case. I just think Michael Jordan's case was a little bit better. Let me know in the comments who you think should have won that award. Now let's shift to the 1990s, and speaking of Michael Jordan getting robbed, let's talk about 1993. By this point, Michael Jordan had won the 1991 and 92 MVP award, and had won his first 2 championships, leading to a classic case of voter fatigue. That year, the winner of the MVP award was Charles Barkley. Barkley did have an amazing season, and by that point in his career, he had 3 top 5 finishes in the MVP race. Barkley finished with 25.6 points per game, 12.2 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 1.6 steals, 14.4 win shares, 7.1 VORP, and the Suns were really good that year, winning 62 games. Now, Michael Jordan was 32.6 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2.8 steals, 17.2 win shares, a 10.2 VORP, and the Bulls were also really good, winning 57 games that year and were the reigning champions. And for me, Michael Jordan's stats were much more impressive than Barkley's, and the Suns didn't win that much more games than the Bulls. Not to mention the Bulls were real winners. They were reigning champions, about to three-peat, by the way. I think this is just a clear-cut case of voter fatigue. And Michael Jordan has some other cases that he probably should have won the award, but we'll leave it at 1993 and we'll go ahead and move on to the 2000s. In 2001, Allen Iverson won the MVP award after posting 31.1 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 2.5 steals, and here's where it gets interesting. 42% from the field, 32% from 3, but he did post 11.8 win shares, a 6.1 VORP, and he led a underwhelming 76ers team to 56 wins. Now, here's the thing about the 2000s. Nobody cared about efficiency, especially when the inefficient ball hog type of player was leading that team to the NBA Finals. But as good as Allen Iverson was that year, the problem is his case doesn't really fit any of the consistent criteria. If you want the best player on the best team, well, that was Tim Duncan. Duncan led the Spurs to 58 wins on 22.2 points per game, 12.2 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks. And the blocks don't tell the whole story. Tim Duncan was awesome defensively in that year. He was hugely impactful, but I don't even think Duncan should have won the award. Shaquille O'Neal had a absolutely monstrous season in 2001 and very well probably deserved that award. Shaquille O'Neal posted 28.7 points per game, 12.7 rebounds, 2.8 blocks, going 57% from the field with 14.9 win shares, a 7.1 VORP, and the Lakers went 56-26, the same record as the 76ers. To be fair to Allen Iverson, he played 71 games that year on 42 minutes per game. He was responsible for the entire offense for that 70. Definitely had a great case, had a great season for the MVP award. I just think Shaq's was better. Let me know, do you think Allen Iverson or Shaq or someone else should have won the award that year? And let's move on to the next award, which is maybe the most controversial MVP award, often talked about as a robbery. Well, there's two of them and they both revolve around Steve Nash. But for the sake of this video, let's just talk about the 2005-2006 season. Steve Nash won the award that year, posting 8.8 points per game, 10.5 assists, on 51 from the field, nearly 44 from 3, 92 from the free throw line, 12.4 win shares, a 4.9 VORP, and he led the Suns to 54 wins that year. Now, this MVP award, I do think it gets underrated. Steve Nash's season was unbelievable, especially given the context. That year, the Suns' second best player, Amari Stoudemire, went down, and Nash still carried the Suns team without their second best player to those 54 wins and posted 50-40-90. The reason I think that season gets underrated is I don't think he should have won the award, but that doesn't mean it was a bad season. They totally outperformed expectations, and sometimes outperforming expectations is enough for the media members to vote for you and give you the award. So in that sense, maybe he did deserve it, but I just think Dirk Nowitzki was better than Nash that year, and he was on a 60-win team. Dirk's stats were 26.6 points per game, 9 rebounds, and he was 48% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. Really efficient in his own right. He posted 17.7 win shares, a 7.9 VORP, and like I already mentioned, the Mavericks went 60-22 that year. Truly a remarkable season by Dirk. But here's the thing. If you don't like Dirk's case, try LeBron's case. LeBron James posted 31.4 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 16.3 win shares, a 9.4 VORP, and led the Cavs to 50 wins. I mean, that's another historic season that you can argue is better than Nash's. But here's the thing. If you don't like LeBron's case, consider Kobe's. Kobe posted 35.4 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 15.3 win shares, 8.0 VORP, leading an underwhelming Lakers team to 45 wins that season. Steve Nash clearly had a great season and outperformed expectations with their second All-Star out, but the question is, does that justify a sub-20 points per game scorer winning the award when there's these three monstrous seasons from Dirk, LeBron, and Kobe? You could really make the argument that Steve Nash should have finished 4th in the race or even lower if we mentioned some other seasons. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now let's jump ahead to the 2010s. If you were watching basketball in 2010, you'll remember the breakout seasons that Derrick Rose had. It's hard for me to even bring up Derrick Rose because he was one of my favorite players at the time, and he was simply unstoppable. But in hindsight, he might not have the best case. In the 2010-2011 season, Derrick Rose won the award after 25 points per game, 4 rebounds, 7.7 assists, 13.1 win shares, a 6.7 VORP, and the Bulls won an impressive 62 games. Now, compare that to LeBron James, who maybe should have won the award. LeBron had 26.7 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.6 steals, 15.6 win shares, a 7.8 VORP, and just 4 games back from the Bulls, the Heat won 58 games that season. But of course, like other cases, context matters. In 2010, LeBron James was hated by many NBA fans. It was his first year in Miami, and he had become the villain of the NBA. And in many ways, Derrick Rose stepped up as somewhat of a hero. Derrick Rose was awesome, but it's hard to make the case over LeBron in my opinion. Who do you think should have won the award that season? Let me know in the comment. But speaking of the 2010s, I think I have to mention a season that James Harden could have won the award. James Harden has the argument to win at least 3 awards, but he only won 1. But for the sake of this video, let's talk about the 2018-19 season. Now, to be absolutely clear, Giannis had a great case to win the award. An amazing season. He was the best player on the best team in the league. And the Bucks took a real leap that year, becoming true contenders. And not to mention, Giannis played both sides of the ball. He was a great defender on a great defensive team. He posted 27.7 points per game, 12.5 rebounds per game, 5.9 assists, 14.4 win shares, a 7.4 VORP, and the Bucks won 60 games. But this case was relatively close, and really deservingly so, because the numbers that James Harden was putting up were absurd. Harden averaged 36.1 points, 6.6 rebounds, 7.5 assists, 2 steals, 15.2 win shares, a 9.3 VORP. And the Rockets were still good. They won 53 games that year. James Harden put up unique and crazy numbers, but at the same time, he was the reigning MVP. And by this point in his career, he was criticized for at least 3 main reasons: being a ball hog, supposedly not playing defense, and dropping in performance in the playoffs. Now, you'll have to be the judge of those 3 things, if those things are true or not. And this is a regular season award, and considering just the regular season, Harden has a great case. But maybe Giannis's was truly better. Let me know what you think in the comments. And with 2019 out the way, that brings us to the 2020s. Now, at this point in the video, if it hasn't been clear already, the MVP award is always changing. Its criteria is never set, and that's probably the main criticism for the award. It's hard to really even define what it is. What does it mean to have the most value in the NBA? For example, Nikola Jokic won 3 MVP awards in 5 years. But here's the thing. The 2 that he didn't win were arguably his best seasons. Now, last year might be a little bit easier to justify with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the award. SGA was the leading scorer in the league and had a great season, and he led a historic OKC defense to 68 wins. It was absolutely a great regular season for them. But in my opinion, it's still hard to make the argument that that's enough to put him over the top of what Jokic did last year. Jokic led an undermanned Nuggets team to 50 wins, posting 29.6 points, 12.7 rebounds, 10.2 assists, so a near 30-point triple-double on ridiculous efficiency, including nearly 42% from 3. This was arguably the best version of Jokic we've seen, for sure offensively, but still, SGA's individual season combined with the winning that the Thunder did this year, it gives him a great case. I can understand it a little better than the other year. The other year being the 22-23 season. That year, the Nuggets won the West, and Jokic had another ridiculous statistical season. 24.5 points per game, 11.8 rebounds per game, 9.8 assists per game, and again, amazing efficiency, including 63% from the field. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid won the award on 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists, while finishing 3rd in the East. Embiid had a good individual season, but Jokic's was better, and Embiid didn't have the winning to back him up like Shai did, but I think you get the point. The MVP award is simply subjective. It's ever-changing based on narratives, agendas, biases, and many other factors. But the question is this: does the inconsistency of the award make it less meaningful? Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know what other snubbed MVPs there are throughout NBA history. And thanks for watching Sports Pantheon.